We got ICE to back down. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration attorney practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. In early April, strange things started happening. International students around the country were being notified by their schools, hey, Joe, your SEVIS record has been terminated. And SEVIS is how they keep track of an immigrant who's here in the United States studying on an F1 visa. And ICE is the agency that maintains the SEVIS database. Well, ICE went ahead and started marking thousands of students in the United States on an F1 visa as terminated. And that means, according to the schools, that the student had to drop out of class, stop working, they couldn't apply for optional practical training, and they should have to leave the United States pretty quickly. So when I say we stopped them, what I mean is immigration attorneys, including Hacking Immigration Law, we filed 10 lawsuits across the country challenging these wrongful terminations by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Now, there are ways for an international student to be kicked out of the United States, but what appears to have happened is either Elon Musk's Doge or ICE itself ran a search, and they said, hey, show us every international student who has ever had any kind of contact with law enforcement in the United States. In my humble opinion, they had one more caveat in there. I don't know for sure, but I think they also said, show us the students that have brown skin, black skin, or from Asia. I don't know that for sure, but I think we're going to find that out down the road. In any event, thousands of international students started getting these notices from their schools saying, basically, you're out of status, you can't stay here in the United States, and you need to figure out what to do. Now, some international students, sadly, left right away. Like, they didn't wait around to fight. They didn't wait around to see what happened. They got so scared that they were going to get sent off to El Salvador and thrown in some prison with a bunch of gang members that they just went back home. Now, many other students, however, hired law firms like ours and some of our friends at the who are members of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and there were hundreds of lawsuits filed across the land against Homeland Security, against ICE, and the directors of those agencies. And the judges were not having it when it came to the defendants' explanations as to what they did. Lawyer after lawyer, including our firm, filed motions for temporary restraining orders and had hearings in front of judges. And when the government was asked to come explain what they were doing, they had no response at all. And so judges across the country were issuing restraining orders against ICE, telling them to put these students back into status. Well, after about 10 days of getting pounded in federal court by judge after judge after judge, late last week we heard word that ICE was quietly marking these students back as active. Now, we don't know for sure if this has been done for every student. We still have clients who have not received word that they're back in status, and we're going ahead with our lawsuit because we don't trust ICE. We don't trust the Homeland Security, and we think that they are breaking the law, that this plan was completely illegal. It upended the lives of international students across the country. It created fear and havoc in colleges across the land, and that's on purpose. It's not on accident. They want international students to be scared. They don't want people with brown skin or black skin or from Asia coming to the United States to study. They want white kids here studying. They don't want international students here. They don't want immigrants here. That's a feature, not a bug. That's what they're after. And so when I told people over and over during the 2024 elections that Donald Trump and Project 2025 and Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon and Ken Cuccinelli were all about stopping legal immigration, this is the kind of BS that we were talking about. This is nothing but a fear tactic, and now they're heading for the hills. They're running back. They're afraid to talk to judges, and they folded because they're just big bullies. And when you stand up to a bully, they back down. It's not like these law firms that had thousands and thousands of attorneys working for them where they could have fought back against Trump, and instead they cowered in fear and they cut a deal with Trump to do pro bono work for causes that he thinks important. These are small little immigration law firms like ours and like my friends who stood up to ICE, stood up to Homeland Security, and these federal judges stood up too. I can't be any more proud of the work that we did as immigration lawyers. I've never been so happy to be a lawyer, and specifically an immigration lawyer, and I'm so proud of my sisters and brothers at the immigration bar who helped bring this about, because it was a total group effort. We were just pounding them in court. They were getting their teeth kicked in, and they finally caved. And do they admit it? No. Do they publicly say what they did? No. They're hiding in fear because they're a bunch of cowards and they're a bunch of bullies, and we stood up for them, and for once we won. And I'm very happy about that. So if you have questions about these lawsuits, or if you're trying to get your next immigration benefit, give us a call at 314-961-8200. Email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. If you're just looking for immigration information, we have tons of it. We have thousands of pages of information on our webpage. We have hundreds of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel at Hacking Immigration Law. You can also find us in our Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. We have thousands and thousands of members in there talking about the immigration process, talking about issues like this every day. We also have our TikTok channel at Immigration Hacking. I guess they're not channels on TikTok, but in any event, at Immigration Hacking is where you can find me. And then finally, we do a live show where people can call and ask us immigration questions 4 or 5 times a week, and that's called the Immigration Answer Show. It's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube, and it's on Twitter or X, and you can find us there. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.